It is completely false that Joe Biden ordered the creation of someone to investigate Donald Trump. That did not happen.
He said on the record multiple times that Donald Trump should have been thrown in jail and said that Merrick Garland failed by not doing it.
If that's the case, what would be wrong with Joe Biden saying, I'm going to order the Justice Department to go after my political enemies? Wouldn't there be nothing wrong with that, by your logic?
In this video today, President Trump shocks the Department of Justice when he fires the prosecutors who tried to put him in jail. Also, Selena Gomez has went viral for crying about mass deportations, and Trump announces something that you and I are going to love as it pertains to taxes. These stories and more in this video today, but let's start with the announcement about Trump firing these career prosecutors.
A new report. Acting Attorney General James McHenry, Pam Bondi hasn't been confirmed yet, today fired more than a dozen prosecutors who worked on the two criminal investigations into Donald Trump for the special counsel, Jack Smith, saying they could not be trusted to faithfully implement the president's agenda, a Justice Department spokesman said. Wow.
All right, so what Trump is doing here by firing these prosecutors from the Department of Justice, to me, I would do the same thing. I'm sure you would too, because these are the same prosecutors that try to put him in jail, that try to put his family, his friends, and business associates in jail, and did put the January 6th defendants in jail as well. And we know the Supreme Court had already stated that they went too far. So can I just ask this question just from a serious standpoint? Why would those people deserve to keep their job? Now, there is an individual who did work for that Department of Justice who went on to CNN, because you know how CNN does. They like to get someone who clearly is on the opposite side of this debate to support their argument. She comes on and says what you would expect them to say.
Well, it's certainly going to scare prosecutors, and that's not what we want to do, right? We want prosecutors to have independent judgment, to be able to think constructively, analyze the law, the facts, the evidence, like I mentioned, and not be scared of political retribution. Political calculation should never come in to a prosecutor's mind when they're exercising their discretion.
Okay, so she must think that we were born last night. And unfortunately, this just doesn't pass the common sense test. We know they were politically motivated, okay? I mean, why else would you prosecute pro-lifers? Why else would you try to put Trump in jail, right? And you brought bogus charges, by the way, and the Supreme Court had already said you guys went too far with January 6th. So for her to go on CNN and say something like that, that's why the American people don't trust you. In fact, this is a life lesson. Sometimes it's better just being honest and admitting you went too far if you want some level of credibility left. Now, here's what Scott Jennings had to say in response.
I actually think it's pretty reasonable for the president, who was just elected, to not want people in his government that he runs who were just most recently trying to put him in jail. I mean, it seems like common sense to me that it wouldn't be right to force the president to run a government, at least which in part has been recently trying to jail him. I grant you that nothing wrong may have happened, that they may have done everything correctly, but still, he got elected. This is a government of the people that elects the president. It's not a government of the career prosecutors. And so I think for now, it's fine that they're not in the government. When he's not the president, and if they want to come back, I'm not sure I would have a problem with that. But I do think it's reasonable for the president to believe that the entire executive branch is, rowing in the direction that he sets as the duly elected president.
So this brings up an interesting debate that is about to take place. If it's up to the president to tell the Department of Justice what his priorities are, then technically the cases that the Department of Justice chooses to prosecute are by default politically motivated. And that's fair if you believe that. But here's the line that they shouldn't cross. It shouldn't turn into a weaponization. So, of course, this is the type of story that the media is going to be obsessed with, because they want to control the narrative about what's happening inside of the Trump administration. And one way they're doing it is to try to paint it in a negative light. Like Trump is out there trying to get revenge against people who went after him. And although he already stated time and time again that this presidency would not be about getting revenge, it would be about making America successful, making America great again, The media is not going to buy that, of course. And let me give you guys a few examples of why that is. Now, I'm on this website called Ground News. Okay, if you guys want to check this out for yourself, go to ground.news/Devori. So here's the first example. This is an outlet that leans left. Huffington Post. Department of Justice fires officials who worked on Trump prosecutions and latest act of retribution. Retribution is the key word here. Doesn't that sound familiar? That's how they want to paint Trump's presidency, which we know, again, it's not about retribution. And that's why there's an outlet called the Epoch Times. This is the way that they wrote the story. Department of Justice fires officials who worked on Jack Smith's team. Doesn't that sound accurate? Isn't that exactly what happened here? But when they throw on that extra word, which is, I'm talking about these networks that lean left, these outlets that lean left, now they're doing the thing that lost them the election and will continue to lose elections. But anyways, why am I showing you guys all this and why is this so important? Because we got to do our own research. If we just leave it up to the media to report the news, we're going to be highly misinformed. There's no question. And this is why I love Ground News, and you will too. So subscribe through my link at ground.news/Devori or download the mobile app and use offer code Devori for 40% off the Vantage plan, which will give you unlimited access to everything that we just covered in this video.
I just think that forgets the point that the Department of Justice and the attorneys in the department should act free from any political influence or will.
But it's a department of the executive branch. The president appoints the attorney general. It works for the president,
But
does
the
it not?
Department of Justice does not work for the president.
Yes,
the
it does.
Department of Justice works for the American people.
No, it works for the executive branch. It's in the
Justice,
Constitution. It exists in the executive branch.
The lawyers of the Justice Department work for the American people.
You're acting like it's an independent branch of government. It's in the executive branch run by the president.
I mean, you don't think there should be a
but the lawyers
firewall?
of the Justice Department work for the American people, not for the President of the United States, not the person in the office.
So you don't
They
think
work for the
anyone
office,
you
not
don't think
person
anyone in the
office.
executive branch is bound to the head of the executive branch?
No, here's the difference. Here's the difference, though. I think this is very critical. You have political appointees who serve at the pleasure of the president. They can be fired whenever, for whatever reason. The president doesn't even need to say why. These are career prosecutors.
So?
These are career inspector generals. There's actually a law that says that you cannot fire them without cause.
Now, just for context, there's really two decisions that President Trump made that are separate issues. He fired the inspector generals, which are people responsible for actually making sure the Department of Justice does not get out of line. And then he fired the individuals in the Department of Justice. Now, just on the surface, that sounds right to me, given what took place over the past 4 years. However, she's trying to make the argument that these same prosecutors don't actually work for the president. They work for the American people, and they really don't take orders from the president. They take orders from the American people and the U.S. Constitution. Now, again, these people think we were born last night. We're not stupid. Just look at the results. Clearly, these cases have been politically motivated, and they will continue to be politically motivated because at the end of the day, the Department of Justice, the Attorney General, the FBI Director, you know who they answer to? The President of the United States. And they are the ones who got nominated by who? The President of the United States. So, of course, they're going to support whatever the president wants to do.
Hold on, Scott. You just said something that's not correct.
What?
You tried to slip it in there. You said at the order of the president. That is completely false.
He did not appoint the prosecutor?
It is completely false that Joe Biden ordered the creation of someone to investigate Donald Trump. That did not happen.
What do you? I mean,
You just said that, and it didn't. That didn't happen.
They had a
So,
special
and
they had a
I
special
think actually
prosecutor under the
Ashley's-
Biden administration
Okay,
that
you just
went
said
after Donald Trump.
under
They did
the
not.
order of the president.
All
Joe
these things are
Biden-
in the executive branch.
I get that.
This is my argument.
I get the
it is an
Schoolhouse Rock
executive
part of it,
branch,
Scott,
and the
but-
president's
but
at the top of it.
You have no evidence that Joe Biden ordered the investigation.
He said on the record
of-
multiple times that Donald
He did
Trump should
not-
have been thrown in
Okay,
jail and
so
said that Merrick
if you
Garland
think-
failed by not doing
If
it.
Ashley's point is correct, that you think that it's just fine for the president of the United States to order whatever investigation he wants, what's wrong with that?
I think I am making a simple personnel argument.
what's wrong
the
with
Justice
it? No,
Department
no.
exists in the
Hold on.
executive branch,
Hold on.
and it exists under the president.
Well,
It is not an
if it is-
independent agency.
If that is the case, then what would be wrong with Joe Biden if If that's the case, what would be wrong with Joe Biden saying, I'm going to order the Justice Department to go after my political enemies? Wouldn't there be nothing wrong with that, by your logic?
Well, I don't think that there's any problem with the president as the head of the executive branch telling the Justice Department, I think things need to be investigated
That
here.
is quite.
But it's up to them. It's up to them to decide whether laws were broken.
So as you can see, she was really trying to turn the argument into something that it wasn't about. Scott Jennings is talking about the personnel and who actually answers to who, which proves that by default, the Department of Justice will always be politically motivated. Now, if you want to have the debate whether that is right or wrong, that's fine. But what you can't debate is Joe Biden did order the Department of Justice to investigate Trump and said it out loud multiple times, not just him, but Chuck Schumer, Hakeem Jeffries, Nancy Pelosi, and other prominent members in the Democratic Party. So I don't understand why she's trying to distract from that fact. Now, the other thing that the media is trying to distract the American people from is the truth about immigration and how Tom Homan has been doing the job that he was appointed to do, ultimately what President Trump was elected to do, which is to get the criminals out of our country. And I told you every step of the way, they're going to try to pull on your heartstrings. And here is the latest example. You probably have already seen it, but we're going to react to it. Selena Gomez crying that some important people in her life were deported.
I just wanted to say that I'm so sorry. All my people are getting attacked. The children. I don't understand. I'm so sorry. I wish I could do something, but I can't. I don't know what to do. I'll try everything, I promise.
Now, why is this getting so much attention? Well, number one, Selena Gomez clearly is a celebrity. Number two, it's a hot issue right now, deportations. And of course, the media is trying to spin this as Trump is focusing on your grandfather and your grandmother. I say it all the time. And Tom Homan has said this repeatedly. They're going after national security threats. If that threat is hanging out with someone who is your grandfather or your grandmother, tough luck. They should be hanging out with criminals. I mean, I don't understand why they don't understand that, okay? It's not like Tom Homan is ordering ICE agents to just go pick up anybody. No, he's going after criminals.
I don't know if you've had a chance to see a video that has been going viral over the past hour or so. We're still working to clear it and show it. In fact, the Hollywood celebrity who posted it has now deleted it, I think because probably she faced a lot of backlash for it, noting even the New York Times and Fox News polls show that a majority of American respondents are in favor of deportations of criminals and gang members. She posted a video sobbing. She was crying in it. She said, all my people are getting attacked.
I don't think we arrested any families. We've arrested public safety threats and national security threats, bottom line. And look, President Trump won the election on this one issue, securing our border and saving lives. What happened on our southern border last 4 years is the biggest national security threat this country's seen, at least in my lifetime, because we got over 2 million known gotaways. We got a 600% increase in sex trafficking. We got a record number of terrorists crossing the border on the terrorist watch list. We have 250,000 Americans die from fentanyl coming across the open border. We're going to do this job, and we're going to enforce the laws of this country. If they don't like it, then go to Congress and change the law. We're going to do this operational apology. We're going to make our community safer. We're going to save. Once we lock that border on continuous operation, you're going to see fentanyl deaths decrease, illegal alien crime decrease, sex trafficking decrease. It's just all for the good of this nation, and we're going to keep going. No apologies. We're moving forward.
Now, Tom Homan is the right man for this job because he is focused on getting results. And that's where we're at as a country right now. And I think the Democrats need to understand this. The American people are not caught up in semantics right now. Okay, they're caught up in, hey, you said you were going to do X. Are you doing X? I don't care how you do it. Just make sure you do it. Right? I mean, when's the last time a president did exactly what they said they were going to do? Now, so far, President Trump seems to be the only one in my lifetime that I can remember that actually has been doing everything he promised on the campaign trail. So you got to give him credit there. You may not like this. You may disagree. You may think they're going too far. But at the end of the day, he said he was going to do it. So at this point, the only thing you can do is get out of the way. And when you're in charge, change the laws. Now, a lot of people came for Selena Gomez online to the point that she had to delete the video, which I think she shouldn't have, because I would have loved to have read the comments, of course, and that's just me being me. However, I think one of the best takes that I've seen on this online is from Benny Johnson. They actually posted this: Selena Gomez is American. Her mom is American. Her Mexican father abandoned them. She went from living in this small town in Texas to a palace in LA that's worth $5 million. She's a billionaire because of America, yet she does not consider us her people. We are over ungrateful woke victim brain rot. And you can see the house that she allegedly lives in. Now, I don't know how accurate all of that is, but I can tell you this: most Hollywood celebrities are out of touch, okay? We all know that. That's first. Secondly, for you to press record, then cry, post the video, then delete it, I mean, you're all over the place. Just stay consistent. If you truly believe in this, keep the video up. Number three, if you're worth $1 billion and this is a hard issue for you, what foundation have you set up to help people like that? What work have you been doing? Now, maybe I'm naive. Maybe she has been doing work, and if you guys know of it, put it in the comment section below, but I bet my money there isn't any. So by now, I'm sure you're noticing every single day there seems to be some outrage over mass deportations, and it's just going to continue to heat up because the media is going to go into overdrive in trying to diminish this entire operation from Trump. They want to shape the narrative in the country about this. But the facts are what they are. And as of right now, the American people are not buying it.
What am I saying? I just want to note how different things are from where we were when Donald Trump first took office, and how much more the American people are on the side of Republicans than they were 8 years ago. So trust which party more on immigration. You go back to April of 2017. Look at this. The Democrats held an 11-point advantage over Republicans. So Americans were not liking what Donald Trump and the Republican Party was doing back at the beginning of his first term. Look at where they are now, though. Poll out just in the last week. After Donald Trump took office, which party you trust more in immigration? Look at the margin Republicans are putting up here. A 22-point lead over Democrats. You rarely see issues in which the American people side so much with one party over the other, but on the main issue that Donald Trump has been pumping up and Republicans have been pumping up since the beginning of his term, that began just 1 week ago, Republicans lead overwhelmingly on this. It's not just unusual for right now. It's just so much different than where we were 8 years ago. It just gives the Republicans a lot more leverage.
So clearly, the American people trust Donald Trump more than the Democratic Party right now. He has the momentum, the support, and the leverage, which brings us to this next story. And it really explains why he does, because he's making promises that really are going to impact our everyday lives. For example, he just announced today, or he's suggesting that he wants to get rid of tax completely. Listen to this.
America is going to be very rich again, and it's going to happen very quickly. It's time for the United States to return to the system that made us richer and more powerful than ever before. Do you know the United States in 1870 to 1913, all tariffs, and that was the richest period in the history of the United States, relatively speaking. In other words, relatively. And they set up the Great Tariff Commission of 1887, and this commission had one function: what to do with all the money that we took in. It was so enormous that they had no idea. It was a blue ribbon committee. It was set up 1887, and what to do with all of the money that we had. And again, Teddy Roosevelt was a beneficiary, because when McKinley was killed, he took over this vast sum of money, and he did all of those national parks and all of the other things. And I'm not knocking him, but he was given a vast amount of money. And that was all made through tariffs. We had no income tax. The income tax came in 1913. As I said in my speech last week, instead of taxing our citizens to enrich foreign nations, we should be tariffing and taxing foreign nations to enrich our citizens. Does that make sense, right?
Now, I want you guys to really think about this for a second. If Trump is able to do even half of what he said he wants to do, especially when it comes to tax, I'm telling you right now, he's going to be one of the greatest presidents we've ever had. Why? Because he's making promises and he's keeping them. I mean, think about everything he's accomplished up to this point, and we're not even 1 month into his presidency. So as it pertains to tax, which clearly impacts our daily lives, especially if you're a business owner out there, you love this. This is what a populist candidate should be pushing for. And again, I'm not the only one out there who believes this. I don't think taxes really should be a thing, but that is just me. Now, this leads me to the question I have for you guys about this entire video, and I want the answer in the comment section below. What is your direct message to Selena Gomez and what she had to say? Do you empathize with her about what she's going through, or even individuals who have been deported because they're caught up with criminal aliens who are getting deported? Or do you just believe she's out of touch? Let me know what your answers are in the comment section below. Now, someone who's truly out of touch is the president of Colombia, who clearly learned a hard lesson with President Trump. Don't make any threats. Don't act like you have leverage or power over the United States of America. And this is in regards to him denying his own citizens being delivered because they were deported from America. And if you guys missed out on that story and other stories from yesterday, all you have to do is click on the video because it's coming up right now.